gathering as the body of Christ, it is indeed good to be together. Thanks for joining in and being with us. Those of you joining us on our Facebook live stream, we're glad you're with us as well. Our reading this morning was Genesis, the 18th chapter, verses 1 to 15, and the 21st chapter, verses 1 through 7. Abraham, the travelers, Sarah, all kinds of things going on in this morning's reading. It's an important story on a number of levels, and it encompasses a great deal of things that are good and worthy to be talked about. This morning I want to focus on the first part of the reading. It's a part that talks about a biblical version of how we are to welcome the stranger. I think in many ways as a society we have lost the art of welcoming the stranger, in spite of the fact that biblical witness is pretty clear how this is supposed to work out. I think widely available anecdotal stories of bad things happening to good people have created an element of fear that's hard to get past. So we close our doors and we stay inside. I get that. Last Saturday I spent part of the afternoon cleaning up trees and cutting down this, that, and the other thing, and general yard work and tree stuff. And I got done with that. It was hot, so I sat down on the back porch to have a beer and pet the cats. Well, I actually sat on the back porch to have a beer, and the cats just took care of the rest of them. And as I'm sitting there, two men walked up my sidewalk, much to my surprise. Now, we live outside of Raymond on Highway 79. We don't get a lot of pedestrian traffic that comes up our sidewalk. We usually hear the car, and we have an alarm that goes off when somebody comes up the driveway. So we usually know when somebody comes up there, and my reaction was, the heartbeat went up. Well, I guess I'll say that. These two guys. The only thing that kept me from getting too wound up is they were carrying a gas can. They were two wayward travelers with a third in the car, they said, who claimed to have run out of gas on the way from Grand Island to Lincoln. Now, over the past 13 years in full-time ministry, I hear stories every week. I kid you not. I get calls every week, somebody needing something. And I'm not perfect at it, but I've gotten pretty good at sifting through what's real and what isn't. And running out of gas by our place on your way from Grand Island to Lincoln doesn't make any sense at all. They were 4 miles out of their way running out of gas. And so I'm pretty plain about this stuff, and I do when people call me in the office asking for help. I ask the right questions. I said, why are you here 4 miles out of your way to get from Grand Island to Lincoln? Well, we took a wrong turn. Well, that made even less sense. Because if you're on Highway 34 coming from Grand Island to Lincoln, you don't make any turns except at York. Just keep going. You'll run into Lincoln. It's inevitable. The laws of physics will not let you do anything else. And since we kind of sorted through all that, even so, in the end, walking out to the machine shed, got him a couple gallons of gas, and I thought, I figured whatever the real story is, they're not walking up and down Highway 79 for fun. It's just not what you do. I've tried to run on Highway 79. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. And really, when it came down to it, I figured it's 2 gallons of gas. What am I out? Well, karma being what it is, and irony being what it is, what it was out was my last 2 gallons when I went out to mow the yard Thursday night. I had to come back to town to fill my gas tank. Proving once again that no good deed will go unpunished. Give them a couple gallons of gas. They said thanks, and on the way they went. And I wish them well. I really do. I don't know what the story is. Obviously, the story they gave me was kinky, but whatever the story was, I hope they fared well and got where they were going. My calculating, my questioning, and my wondering, and my grilling them on their story got me to thinking about today's reading. Really reversed. After I read today's reading, it got me thinking about my questioning, my calculating, my grilling them about their story. Because Abraham's version of welcome comes off a little different than mine. He starts off in verse 2. He looked up and he saw 3 men standing near him. When he saw them, he ran from the tent entrance to meet them and bowed down to the ground. Makes me wonder if I should run left off the back steps and run down the sidewalk and bow down in front of these 2 guys. Probably not. It might have sent them screaming back down the driveway out to Highway 79. But it got me to thinking about our approach to welcoming the stranger. bowing down before other strangers, probably not the best idea in today's society and culture. But treating the stranger respectfully sets the foundation for being able to welcome the stranger. With this in mind, the rest of Abraham's welcome is worthy of note. He has water brought so he can wash their feet, has bread baked, and in verse 8, he took curds of milk and the calf that he had prepared and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree while they ate. That's a pretty fine welcome right there. I like to think the curds Abraham served them were fried cheese curds from Wisconsin. That may be a little problematic historically. In any case, it's clear that welcoming the stranger is important. It was important to Abraham then, and it's important to us both individually and as a community of faith now. When we welcome the stranger here on Sunday morning, we open up the possibility that they might encounter God in our worship. When we welcome the stranger, we open up the possibility that they might encounter the risen Christ in the bread and the wine of communion. When we welcome the stranger, we open up the possibility that they might encounter the Holy Spirit through the things we do as workers in God's kingdom. When we welcome the stranger by inviting them to help feed the hungry or put shoes on students' feet or any number of outreach activities, we open the possibility that they might encounter God. When we welcome the stranger by inviting them to join our fellowship opportunities, we open up the possibility that they might encounter God. That's what it really boils down to. That is our ultimate calling, I think. Helping people encounter God, the triune God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Without that, all the things we do are good works and worthy of doing, but if we take God out of the equation, they're kind of empty works at that point. Very few of us are anywhere near where we started out in life. New cities, new relationships, new jobs, and in particular, new communities of faith. We've all been strangers somewhere. This is particularly poignant for my wife Laura and I this week because Tuesday is 9 years of anniversary of my installation here at Spirit of Hope. We've all been somewhere else. Well, there's maybe a couple of exceptions of smaller kids that have always been Spirit of Hope. But we've all come from somewhere else. Think back to a time when you were a stranger and remember how you felt when you were welcomed. Think about the things that made you feel like you were mattered, that you mattered and were welcomed into the group. Then think about incorporating those things into your world. You thought I made a grammatical error, didn't you? Think about the next time you meet a stranger in general, and specifically here about how you are going to extend your welcome. Extending your welcome to glory of God. Thanks be to God. Amen. I shall please stand as you are comfortable and able. Worship